The enemy of my enemy. Well, turns out that they're just desperate enough to be useful. Earth likes that. We'll take what we can get. One of the friends of Earth, whoever or whatever that really means, has just done something rare. They surrendered a power token. Not a loan, not a favor, a permanent sacrifice. These tokens aren't handed out like candy. They're earned. Slowly, carefully, one every few planetary cycles if you're lucky. And this one? They risked a past win. If Earth loses, the system warns, this match will be logged as 2 losses. High stakes, but the benefit? 1 additional avatar slot. A chance to fight with more than 1 piece on the board. A second hand in the fire. But Earth's still a low-level participant. No big names showing up yet, so instead of summoning some world-shattering entity, digital flicker, a visual echo appears in front of Eric. His own face. The system settles on what it calls a self-match protocol. Eric. Clone mirrored. An avatar copy, acting with his current skill set. A second chance. A double down. Not flashy, not divine, but real. Okay, fine. Good to have an ace in the pocket, I guess. Not that I'm gonna need it. I'm killing it. Scroll tone interface opens, flickering icons and game options. And so, with swagger in his thumb and confidence in his blood, Eric scrolls the match list. Okay, what do we got here? Catch Protocol of Ancients. Sounds retro. Sounds easy. Probably just Pong. Button click. Confirmation tone, slight whoosh as the world reshapes. But it wasn't Pong. Not quite. Arena ambiance, low atmospheric hum, distant synth crowd, soft clicks as Eric scrolls the match list. With 1 token banked and 1 eye on his record, Eric hovered over a safe-looking option. Catch Protocol. Of Ancients. Sounded retro. Sounded easy. Probably just Pong. I could play Pong in my sleep. Let's knock this out and get to something real. Tone confirms selection. Dim blue light pulses outward, a shimmer as the arena forms. But the system glitched, just a little. Eric thought he picked Lion Waters, Earth's precision champion, a legend of patience and geometry. And physically, it looked right. The body materialized, tall, powerful, balanced like a coiled spring in motion. But when the champion opened his mouth, champion? Pong? You mean that Cold War surveillance trap? Not falling for that again. I knew a guy, said the machine, watched him blink. Wait, what? What version of Lion is this? What Eric didn't know, couldn't have known, was that the body was Lion's, in his prime. But the brain came from a 70-year-old retired tennis player uploaded from an outdated Earth archive labeled Close Enough. No real ball, no real net. This is just light tricks for lazy kids. I'll show you how we did it in '82. Match begins. The game started fast. 3-dimensional Pong. Walls moved, angles changed. The ball wasn't bouncing, it was shifting dimensions midair. The crowd leaned in. 2-0. Then 3-0. Eric leaned on the mic. Just move the panel, not your legs. You are the paddle. Speak up, son. You sound like a fax machine in a blender. At 5-0, the crowd was laughing. At 6-0, Eric was praying for a meteor. At 7-0, the champion sprinted out of bounds and started chasing the holographic ball on foot, yelling about real sportsmanship. No. No. Ha! Nailed it. Somehow, he scored a point. Eric's jaw dropped. The arena cracked into applause, but not the good kind. That ironic, polite 7-1. I'm gonna puke. Beep. Ball returns to play, another miss. Eric's fingers hovered over the forfeit option. A quiet rage started bubbling. And then, he remembered. Soft chime. Token icon glows gold. The power-up. The clone. The ace. Fine. Let's do this. Click. Activation pulse. Everything slows. Avatar protocol engaged. Eric's vision blurred, and suddenly he was in it. Not coaching. Not watching. Controlling. The control chair locked around him, lighting up like a cockpit. The arena adjusted. The paddle responded to him now. No more golf ghosts, no more retired tennis brains. Just him. Okay. Your game? Let's play it my way. Arena sounds sharper now. Ball echoes. Crowd buzz low and tense. Score flashes. Eric dropped into the chair like a pilot reclaiming his ship mid-crash. He didn't ask questions. He just moved. Ball strike. Clean return 2. Then 8-4. 8-6. Rival starting to glance back now. Eric's clone slides left, then right. Each return tighter, meaner. Score 8-8, then 9-9. One long rally, crowd silent. The final bounce drops just past the edge of the rival's paddle. 9-10, shouting, standing half up in the chair. Yeah! That's match. That's comeback season. The ball drops. Eric's paddle isn't in place. Ding. Silence then. And the rookie doesn't know. You don't win at 10. You win by 2. Fair's fair. Crowd erupts with mocking cheers. 2 more. 2 more. Eric froze mid-pose, the smile gone. He sits. Locks back in. All buttons now feel heavier. Okay, that's how we're doing it. Next serve. Eric doesn't move. The point passes. Score 11-10. Then, hard slam, clean return. Another volley. He lets it go. 12-11. Slipping again? Just stretching. Just 12-12. Now it's quiet again. Eric was done playing cute. He baited them in. He wanted this. Final serve. Snap reaction. The ball angles hard off the sidewall, unreturnable. 13-12, and again faster this time. The rival barely flinches. Fort 12. New arena ambiance, tranquil tones, then interrupted by constant glassy squeals, like someone slowly dragging a violin bow across metal. The challenger had picked their match. Match, sleeping but not beaten. A contest of stillness. Rest, endurance. The rules? Your champion must remain within the designated space. No leaving, no reacting, no engaging. Let's see if Earth can relax under pressure. Eric scrolls, thinks, then taps. If they want rest, fine, we'll rest. Portal shimmer, a figure appears. She's floating gently, gowned, serene, hands crossed, the classic Sleeping Beauty. Eric had chosen Earth's most iconic sleeper. Not a metaphor, not a nickname. The Sleeping Beauty. But then, the enemy arrived. Sound ramps, horrible, high-pitched resonance, wet glass vibrations layered with fingernail on chalkboard energy. The galaxy's most annoying vibrational entity. A creature that didn't attack with claws or fire. It just existed. Wrongly. Imagine a broken dishwasher trying to harmonize with a flute. Underwater, on fire. Oh God, I hate that sound. We've slightly accelerated the match speed for viewer sanity. Earth's player will hear full length, uncut. Wait, what? Hours pass. The vibrational entity screamed, buzzed, and rippled its horrible frequencies through the arena like 1,000 leaky balloons being stepped on by anxiety itself. Nothing. Beauty didn't flinch, didn't twitch, she just slept. Score ticks up slowly. Match duration reached. Earth, victory. Crowd murmurs. The entity implodes with a disappointing slurp. A confident alien doctor strolls over, syringe in hand. Now, to confirm proper biological stasis. Stab. Nothing happens. Doctor frowns. Stabs again. Still nothing. That's not medically consistent. Eric receives a message prompt. Please clarify your champion's revival protocol. Confirm non-exploit. Y'all wanted storybook Earth? You're getting the full fairy tale. He taps again. Portal shimmer. Another figure enters. Prince Charming himself, clean-cut, graceful, and somehow always lit like golden hour. Gasps ripple across the arena. Charming kneels, gently, without hesitation. And in front of the entire galaxy, he delivers a kiss soft enough to wake legends. Pause. Breath. Then, her fingers move. Eyes flutter open. Sleeping Beauty rises, smiling. Charming lifts her into his arms like it's all been rehearsed since myth began. And together they walk out of the arena, past the stunned aliens, the broken doctor, and the smirking announcer. Announcer, soft, almost impressed. Well, that's one way to do it. Exit hall, after sleeping but not beaten. They stood under the soft glow exit arch, just past the arena floor. The air smelled faintly of ozone and flowers, because of course it did. Sleeping Beauty looked flawless, despite 10 hours of galactic torture tones. Prince Charming stood beside her like he'd just walked off a storybook page. Posture perfect, smile calm, like none of this had surprised him. A reporter approached, voice bright and excited. "You just won one of the most psychologically brutal matches ever logged. How did you manage to stay asleep through that?" Beauty smiled, softly, serenely, like the answer had always been obvious. "Because I wasn't waiting for silence," she said. "I was waiting for him." She nodded toward the prince. "Only my true love could wake me. That's how it works." The crowd, if you could call a mixture of aliens, diplomats, and floating cameras a crowd, gave a warm, dreamy hum of approval. Somewhere, a translator pod emitted a wistful sigh. The reporter turned to the prince. "Did you know that was the only way to win?" He didn't hesitate. "Yeah," he said simply. "I knew I had to kiss her." And somehow, he made it sound like a military order, or a prophecy. Eric, watching from a step behind, rolled his eyes just enough to show he still had one foot in reality. "That's not even the weirdest part of my day," he muttered. The reporter tried for one more question. "Some say it felt scripted, like it was too perfect." Beauty just laughed, light and clear. "True love always feels scripted, but that doesn't mean it's fake." The two of them turned and walked away, slowly, dramatically, like they practiced. Eric watched them go. "Yeah," he said, half to himself. "That'll play great in the highlight reel." The match opened in near darkness. A low wind circled the arena like breath beneath a blanket. From the center rose a shape so large it didn't seem real at first, just a slow-rolling hill of dark, gleaming stone. But then it shifted, exhaled, and smoke drifted out across the cold floor. The opponent had chosen a sleeping titan match, a simple goal: wake the creature before your rival does. From Earth's side, the summoning gate opened first. A woman marched forward. Sharp posture, pressed uniform, hair tied tight. A military mother. Arms crossed, jaw clenched, voice like Reveille. "All right, let's go. Rise and shine. Bus leaves in 4. Dragon or not, you're going to make this day happen." The dragon didn't move. She circled it, barked orders, tapped the base of its tail with the clipboard. Nothing. "Yeah, that's not going to work." He tapped the interface, looked up at the slowly ticking timer. It was already 11:40 a.m. "We're doing this Earth style." The summon gate flashed again, and out burst 3 children, wide-eyed, sugar-charged Christmas morning children. They wore matching pajamas and were already holding candy canes. The dragon didn't even flinch. "Kid 1, it's almost none. Kid 2, wake up. Wake up, it's Christmas Day. Get up now, or we'll throw snow in your face." Kid 3, chanting, "Time to get up! Time to get up!" They began the assault. Sticky fingers grabbed the dragon's wings. One tugged on its massive claw like a bell rope. Another climbed halfway up its back and started jumping, shouting, "Presents! Presents!" like a war cry. Still, the dragon did not stir. It only let out a small, smoky snore and rolled its bulk slightly deeper into the hearth's shadow. Kid 2, grabbing the tip of its tail, "You promised last year." Kid 1, "It's Christmas and you're still gonna sleep? You said this year would be different." Kid 3, "We waited all day." The sugar crash hit hard. Energy gave way to emotion. They stood around the dragon now, not shouting, but sniffling. Little hands wiped at faces. Voices cracked. "It's almost noon. We waited, and you don't even care." Then, just the softest sound, stone shifting over stone. One massive eye opened. It glowed faint gold. Then, slowly, the other followed. The dragon didn't speak at first. It just really looked at the children. Then, "Been a long time since I've had a mother. Longer since I've had kids." It shifted forward, a massive claw reaching toward the tree. The fire pit reignited behind it, warm, golden light bathing the arena. "Fine. Open your damn presents. Just leave me the peppermint bark." The kids erupted. Paper flew. Candy canes shattered underfoot. One of the boxes popped open with a soft glow. Inside the wrapping, folded in a ribbon marked "To the one who waited," floated the win token. Presence confirmed. Dragon status awakened. Match. Earth wins. Sometimes the most dangerous thing you can summon is kids that didn't get to open their gifts. Quiet fade from the warmth of the dragon's hearth to the sterile flicker of the next arena loading zone. The lights shift from gold to icy blue. A new challenge buzzes in at the top of Eric's interface. There wasn't much time to celebrate. No parades, no speeches. Not in this league. The arena shifted again. Stone floors flattening to metal tiles, then softening to soil. Screens wrapped the sky, flickering through regions. Tundra, jungle, river delta, even desert cliffs. This match wasn't combat. It was exploration. Match type, regional survey. Objective, identify and map 6 major landmarks, including terrain boundaries, path networks, native flora, and animal migration. Target, 61% mapped for visibility unlock. Okay, so as long as I see them as a team, like Sleeping Beauty and Prince Charming, or siblings, then that's what I get in the arena. He scrolled through the summon menu, flipping past obvious names. He crossed out Marco Polo, too solitary, too self-important. This wasn't a solo mission, it was collaboration. Then he smiled. 2 names glowed back from the Earth archives, names bound together by story, myth, and historical grit. Yeah, 2 people who are literally built for this. Let's bring in Lewis and Clark. Summon flare. The arena pulses. Fog begins rolling in from the edge of the region. It spills over cliffs, winds through valleys. Visibility drops to near 0. The air shifted. It smelled like pine, damp earth, wind over water. Somewhere ahead, rivers cut through jungle and plateau. Plant life buzzed with motion. Strange bird calls echoed in the distance. But almost everything was hidden, blurred by the heavy white fog that clung to the map and the land itself. And then, footsteps. 2 figures emerged from the summoning gate. One wore expedition leathers, broad-shouldered, carrying a rifle with a spyglass tied to the strap. The other had a satchel heavy with maps and ink-stained fingers, already sketching in a notebook as they walked. They didn't say a word. They didn't need to. They looked at each other, nodded once, and stepped forward into the mist. Progress, 1.4%.
To prove the opinions expressed by the former, advertising CEO do not reflect current policy. The Galactic Tournament Council is committed to full species inclusion across all systems, and with that in mind, we present multi-spanned blasts designed for beings with various and sometimes simultaneous attention spans. Voiceover, rapid, punchy tone begins here. Note, all orders will be sequential. That's right, no more duplicate order numbers, even if you are a time loop species. Donate to orphan planets. Yes, actual planets. They need your help. Extended hyperdrive maintenance incorporated. Running late isn't heroic. Is your enemy frozen sulfur, or maybe it's just your mother? Either way, neutralize the threat with dignity. Buy one, get one random alien or friend. It's a good deal. Mostly. Adoptable pets, all galactically approved and fully house-trained on at least 3 dimensions. Too many offspring? Drop a few off at the one-way daycare planet. No paperwork, no returns, no questions. Try our Symbiosis Matcher app. Find your perfect complementary parasite or host today. Visit Simulation Land, or maybe you never left. The memories are real. We checked. Voiceover, more sincere, slightly slower, and once again to prove our commitment to all beings, including those with multiple attention spans of individually unique lengths. We've partnered with the Galactic Catalogue to bring you the fully immersive multiplicity simulation. Now, every version of you gets to participate. No more exclusion, no more left out voices. Every self, every shift, every span included.
Quiet fade from the warmth of the dragon's hearth to the sterile flicker of the next arena loading zone. The lights shift from gold to icy blue. A new challenge buzzes in at the top of Eric's interface. There wasn't much time to celebrate. No parades, no speeches. Not in this league. The arena shifted again. Stone floors flattening to metal tiles, then softening to soil. Screens wrapped the sky, flickering through regions. Tundra, jungle, river delta, even desert cliffs. This match wasn't combat. It was exploration. Match type, regional survey. Objective, identify and map 6 major landmarks, including terrain boundaries, path networks, native flora, and animal migration. Target, 61% mapped for visibility unlock. Okay, So as long as I see them as a team, like Sleeping Beauty and Prince Charming, or siblings, then that's what I get in the arena. He scrolled through the summon menu, flipping past obvious names. He crossed out Marco Polo, too solitary, too self-important. This wasn't a solo mission, it was collaboration. Then he smiled. 2 names glowed back from the Earth archives, names bound together by story, myth, and historical grit. Yeah, 2 people who are literally built for this. Let's bring in Lewis and Clark. Summon flare. The arena pulses. Fog begins rolling in from the edge of the region. It spills over cliffs, winds through valleys. Visibility drops to near 0. The air shifted. It smelled like pine, damp earth, wind over water. Somewhere ahead, rivers cut through jungle and plateau. Plant life buzzed with motion. Strange bird calls echoed in the distance. But almost everything was hidden, blurred by the heavy white fog that clung to the map and the land itself. And then, footsteps. 2 figures emerged from the summoning gate. One wore expedition leathers, broad-shouldered, carrying a rifle with a spyglass tied to the strap. The other had a satchel heavy with maps and ink-stained fingers, already sketching in a notebook as they walked. They didn't say a word. They didn't need to. They looked at each other, nodded once, and stepped forward into the mist. Progress, 1.4%. Eric was still on his winning streak, still buzzing from the peppermint chaos of kids shaking a dragon out of hibernation, still watching Lewis and Clark steadily push back the fog across the map, marking animal trails, carving paths between biomes, etching details with surgical focus. They were at 12.6% now. Why stop at 2? His finger hovered over the summon interface. 3 silhouettes blinked back at him. He clicked without hesitation. 3 sets of eyes. Let's see what this crew can really do. But the moment he confirmed, something changed. The viewing screen warped, the fog rolled in, and suddenly, he wasn't watching anymore. He was there. The jungle presses close. Humid air, birdsong, distant rustling. Eric stumbles forward through thick leaves, blinking. Whoa, hold on. I was just spectating. Somewhere overhead. Correction, Earth has joined the survey match. Contestant will remain until completion. Challenge, Regional Survey, Real-Time Expedition. Goal, map 61% of landmass, rivers, biomes, flora, fauna, and shape geometry. Match duration, indefinite. Note, external viewing is accelerated for broadcast purposes. Field participants experience time naturally. Oh, that 18 minutes of progress he'd watched from above? That had been the entire first day. Sundown. Then back up. All of it sped up for the crowd. But not for him. Now it was real. Now it was long. Saw footsteps approach, Lewis. You volunteered. Without looking up, didn't expect you to. But we could use a 3rd set of eyes. Yeah, guess we're teammates now. They didn't slow down. They handed him a sketch pad, a field pack, and pointed east. The fog clung thick to the horizon, but it shifted slightly as they walked, lifting just enough to hint at the shape of mountains in the distance. A crater lake. The rustle of something big moving just out of sight. 3 people. 1 map. No fast forward. No escape until they hit 61%. Steps into the region were swallowed in green. The trees were tall. Taller than anything Eric had ever seen. Not just rainforest tall. Not redwood tall. These giants loomed like skyscrapers grown from soil, their trunks vanishing into a ceiling of leaves that blocked out the sun completely. It wasn't metaphorical. It was literal. The entire forest was in shadow, and worse, the map was useless. Just a gray blur. Fogged. Eric. I thought the fog was just a visual metaphor. It wasn't. The fog on the map matched the fog on the ground. Thick. White. Drifting around the tree bases like breath in cold air. As they took notes, the fog began to react, visibly clearing from their local map interface. But progress was slow. Every detail mattered. Types of bark. Shapes of leaves. The way light hit the moss. It wasn't just about walking through a space, it was about knowing it. And then there was the X, marked faintly on their shared map, but slippery. The closer they got, the more it seemed to slide, as if the system didn't want to fully confirm its location until they earned it. It's moving, or we're not seeing it right. Or it only stops moving once it's been described. Eventually, the X led them to what could only be called a landmark, a woven network of trees, spiraled and fused, forming a kind of structure. It rose as high as a small mountain. Twisting roots and branches connected to form natural steps, ropes, ledges. And climbing it wasn't optional. They had to camp halfway up in the crook of a root the size of a cabin, sleep suspended above the fog, still unsure how much was left to chart. The next morning they climbed higher, past nests, past vines. The air got clearer, the light sharper. At the top, resting in the crook of a massive forked branch, they found it, a bird's nest the size of a fishing boat. In it, beside the twigs and bright alien feathers, was a small observation disc, a lens. It's an aerial viewer. They tilted it upward. It flashed once, then swept the canopy, sending ripples across the map as the entire region rendered at once. Paths appeared, water trails, the full layout of the forest floor. Region, deep canopy basin. Survey completion, 63%. Landmark verified, nest of the canopy watchers. One down. And they still had miles of fog ahead. The second region didn't announce itself with noise or movement, just absence. A black mark in the distance, so wide it looked like someone had erased part of the mountain range. That's not a cave. That's a hole in the world. The entrance was massive, grand, caped like a tunnel. Not carved, not collapsed, bored. Something once went through here with purpose. They crossed a ridge to reach it, and even from half a mile out, the scale made them feel small. By the time they stepped inside, the outside world was already gone. No echo, just cool air, damp stone, and a faint, persistent glow. It wasn't sunlight. There wasn't a drop of that left. The cave had its own light system, a full UV spectrum world. Moss glowed blue around the edges of boulders. Thin neon worms curled against the walls, pulsing softly like heartbeat patterns. And all around them, small, sleek animals with long whiskers scurried just out of reach, navigating not with eyes, but touch. Everything here's made to feel its way forward. Even the bats are wrong. Look. Above, things flitted, silent, soft-bodied, almost like bats, but their wings refracted light into nothing, UV camouflage. They flickered in and out of sight like static behind glass. The deeper they went, the fewer animals they saw. Even the glowing worms curled tighter. Even the moss turned pale. Feels like we're not supposed to be down here. Then the sound changed. They didn't hear it. They felt it. A slow, steady thrum. The sound of falling water, but not crashing. Not chaotic. They turned a bend and saw it. Landmark 2. A thin, elegant waterfall, cascading from a ledge high above. But instead of mist and rainbow, the pool below glowed purple, lit by thousands of jellyfish-like creatures drifting in the water. They weren't swimming. They were holding still, like they'd been waiting. Their soft glow illuminated the cave like lanterns hung from memory. Region, Hollow Range. Landmark verified, the Stillwater Fall. Survey completion, 4%. No one spoke. Even Eric, still buzzing with energy from the dragon match just a day before, stood silent, staring at the glow. Then finally, all right, let's go find 35. By the time they reached the next region, the ground had flattened. The jungle thinned. The trees twisted low to the ground as if ducking beneath some unseen threat. The air was sharp. Not sulfuric, but wrong. Acidic enough that Eric started covering his mouth with his shirt. Then they saw it. A massive lake, wide, quiet, still. The surface gleamed with a pale yellow tint like someone had poured oil over metal. That water doesn't look swimmable. PH is, yeah, don't touch it. Don't even look too long. The lake wasn't boiling. It wasn't bubbling. It just waited. Still, unmoving. And past the far shore, barely visible through the haze, was another structure. A platform. A distant marker glowing faintly red. So we need a boat. We have a boat, but it's untreated. Clark, running her fingers along the hull. The acid would eat through it halfway across. That was when they noticed the beetles. Big ones. The size of dinner plates. Dark, domed shells that shimmered green-blue. They scuttled in clusters near the water's edge, dipping into pools, then retreating as if on schedule. None of them seemed bothered by the acid. Their shells are hydrophobic, layered. Looks like chitin fused with calcium weave, ready pulling a specimen. And if we line the canoe with them... Eric, we get a bioshield boat. An hour later, the canoe was covered, beetle shells layered and sealed with tree resin, stitched into place with rope made from local vine. It wasn't pretty, but it floated, and it held. Crossing the lake took time. The air was heavy, the smell of rust and wet ash clung to everything. Small hisses echoed as droplets hit the surface, but the boat didn't melt, didn't sink, just slid silently forward. When they reached the far platform, the air cleared. And behind the red marker was a tall pole with a carved disc. It spun slowly in the wind, reflecting the entire lake surface in fragments. Region Glass Acid Flats. Landmark verified shell crossing point. Survey completion 47%. You two are terrifying. We're explorers. And your canoe's still ugly. The terrain shifted again. Jungle gave way to cliffs, then cliffs gave way to snow. Fine, dry powder blanketed everything, and the air turned clean in that sharp, hollow way only deep cold can bring. The trees were gone now, wreathed by ice-crusted spines of rock, wind-carved arches, animal tracks. Lewis pulled his coat tighter. Clark muttered something about frost forming on her pen. Eric shoved his hands in his sleeves. Could have sent the Christmas kids here. They'd stay warm. They spotted movement on a nearby ridge. First one, then two, then half a dozen. Large, pale shapes crawling low to the ground. Centipedes, massive ones. Segmented, armored, low-slung like someone stitched a bus and a snowplow together. But they weren't fighting. They weren't even hunting. They were watching. Lewis. They're competing. No weapons, no venom, just pulling. Sure enough, one centipede had a log strapped to its back, dragging it across a frozen field while the others watched in a wide circle. It wasn't a kill. It was display. It's dominance. Whoever pulls the heaviest load gets priority in the herd. Okay, so to catch the biggest one, Lewis, we pull better. They fashioned a crude sled using their supply crates, some rope, and a stone marker from the last region. Eric volunteered. Of course he did. He grabbed the rope, squared his stance, and pulled 3 meters. 6. By the time he hit 10, the centipedes were watching again. One stepped forward, massive, scarred, legs clicking like clockwork. It lowered its body beside the sled and waited. Is this real life? Did I just alpha a snowbug? With Lewis and Clark's guidance, they tethered it, gently. It didn't resist. It pulled the sled twice the distance, and every other centipede backed away into the snow. At the far side of the field was a frozen altar, etched with symbols that looked like spirals inside teeth. When the centipede reached it, the altar pulsed once, recognizing the offering. Region Frost Halo Expanse. Landmark verified, dominance trial grounds, survey completion 56%. Can't feel my fingers. By day 7, Eric had stopped pretending he wasn't impressed with himself. Lewis and Clark were machines. Maps were filling faster. Fog was clearing. The three of them had become a rhythm, quiet, sharp, efficient. So when they reached the volcanic ridge and saw the flame-cracked valley, Eric didn't hesitate. I got this one. There's still lava down there.
Yeah.
But check this out. What if we angle a rope, tie it to the scanner, swing it over that ridge, and a loud ding cuts him off? Region Ashglass Divide. Landmark verified thermal uplift apex. Survey completion 61%. Lewis already did it. You used a lasso? Yep. First try? First throw. Cool. Yeah, no, that's 13. Round trip. The next region was dense. Overgrown, choking with heat and buzzing with noise. A river snaked through it like a spinal cord, but never in one direction. So they paddled, carried, paddled again. I swear this is a new launch point. It's not. That tree has the same knot. And the frog we marked is still sitting on it. They'd gone in circles, over and over. Every place they thought was new was a repackaged loop, just presented differently by the terrain. By the time they realized it, they had already mapped 68%. The system beeped in confirmation, and the fog vanished instantly. We could have left this jungle 2 days ago. We already knew it, just hadn't accepted it. Sometimes the hardest thing to recognize is a place you've already mastered. Part 14, the stairs. By day 10, the climb hurt. Their boots scraped stone. The wind was sharper up high. The final mountain was steep, relentless, and quiet. At the top, a flat plateau overlooked the whole region, every biome visible from this single vantage. They stood in silence. Eric stared out at the landscape, wind cutting his face, exhaustion weighing down his spine. I can't do this anymore. I'm sorry, Earth. I tried. He slumps down to one knee, head low. Hey, look. To their left, carved into the mountain's inner edge, was a staircase. Wide, worn smooth by time. The kind of staircase that didn't need climbing. Just choosing. We could have taken the stairs. Of course we could have. "10 full days, 7 unique biomes, 6 confirmed landmarks, over 71% of the region mapped. The fog was gone. The terrain dissolved gently, each tree, stone, and trail vanishing into soft white static until only a platform remained. Eric stepped onto it, closed his eyes. When he opened them, he was back in his room. White walls, simple desk, digital display blinking. Match complete. Time days, 3 hours. Status, success. A notification appeared, one he hadn't seen before. Had you died or failed to complete the match, your wins and tokens would have defaulted to the next challenger to reach 61%. Wait, what? All those wins, all that effort. He thought it was a solo arc. Turns out the whole thing was defensible real estate, and he'd almost handed the keys away with one bad step. He sat down, stared at the ceiling for a long moment. Then, okay, next time. I read the fine print first. One opens with applause. Ambient echo of a grand hall. Interstellar flags wave behind a long table. A glowing sign hovers above the stage. Post-match, press conference, Earth Exploration Unit. Welcome back to the Arena Debrief stage. Today, a rare treat. Please welcome the legends themselves, Meriwether Lewis and William Clark. Thunderous applause. Alien drones hover closer for a better angle. Lewis adjusts his collar. Clark leans forward, unfazed. Interviewer 1, multiple eyes. Gentlemen, what was it like setting foot in a world no one had charted? When we first laid eyes upon that ultraviolet moss cavern, I said aloud, "This cave doth whisper secrets older than stone itself." And I replied, "By thunder, we must chart them lest they chart us first." Flow to you too. How did you handle the Acid Lake crossing? Ah yes, the shell crossing. We fashioned a vessel using local beetle casings. Resilient, hydrophobic, and mighty fine armor if one's ever challenged to a duel on water. We floated like kings on a jeweled chariot, carved not by man, but by God's own biology. You two never even flinched during the polar centipede pull. How? Sir, I have stared down a grizzly bear after 3 weeks without coffee. No insect frightens me. Dominance is not declared with noise. It is shown by distance pulled per stride. And we pulled the earth. Murmurs of war. Did you two get lost in the fog at any point? We never get lost. We merely discover more than expected. Polite laughter from the press corps. What about your teammate? The Earth representative, Eric. Thoughts? Loud, ambitious. Needs more cardio. But he learns. Fast. He wasn't half bad. For a civilian. Applause builds again. One alien reporter stands and claps with all 17 of its hands. Last question. What's next for you two? Where there are maps unfinished and worlds misunderstood, we will go. Give us stars or give us swamps, so long as it ain't a roundabout jungle again. Galactic Broadcast, Big Zoloft's Experience Zone and Planetary Services. Intro jingle, synth horns, planetary reverb, someone screaming joyfully in the background. Welcome to Big Zoloft's Experience Zone, your one-stop destination for customizable atmospheres, adjustable gravity, and full-spectrum environmental leasing. Click fog hisses. Want a party in a room of fog, where sound barely moves and light begs to escape? Zap, lightning crackles. Want to bathe in a storm of raw electricity? Then jump into a pool of magnetized water while listening to whale screams in reverse? That's room 12. Bring eye protection. Ocean waves crash, abruptly stop. Announcer 1, whispering dramatically, need sea salt in the air, but you're a smell-based creature, and the brine makes your gills shrivel? Ask about our hardening bath with protective gel layer lockdown. Now with 3 new firmness settings. Announcer gradient. Seeking something more adrenaline-fueled, Announcer 1, try our black hole bungee jump, the only certified extreme-length gravity drop, where 1 real-time second gives you 1,000 years of screaming joy. Announcer 3, and don't worry, our tethers are time-tested. And Announcer friendly, customer service. We've just updated our universal translator package, now with accents, sarcasm filters, and passive-aggressive detection for over 4,000 planetary dialects. Translator tone warps through 7 languages, ending in a friendly good day. Announcer 1, is your homeworld suffering from over-fertilization? Announcer 2, serious low. Have your plants gained sentience? Have your dead gained vines? Are your loved ones now sentient compost with military tactics? All chant style together call Big Zoloft's Player Exterminate, reading legal fine print rapidly. We return any soil composite to neutral, now accepting necrotic root swarms, carnivorous roses, and orchard insurrections. Extra charge applies if the plants are now dead, and also zombies. Big Zolofts. We fix what the gods forgot to finish. Final jingle, choir of dissonant alien voices.